Across the galaxy, there was one truth every species believed: humans were weak. In the grand councils of the Orion Pact, alien ambassadors would laugh at Earth's requests for trade or defense. They called humans fragile, breakable, a species that relied on peace treaties instead of power. Soft skin, hollow bones, no claws, no armor, sneered the Creel Dominion. They have emotions that control them. They weep, they hesitate, they beg, mocked the Yath Syndicate. They survived only because no predator wasted time hunting such small prey, whispered the Archon Triumvirate. It was a belief so strong, so universal, that no one ever questioned it. Humanity had been placed at the bottom of the galactic order, useful for their art, their words, their strange way of dreaming, but never for war. And yet, something was about to change. Far from the glittering halls of politics, the galaxy trembled at the rise of a force older and darker than any empire. The Vorkai swarm. They were not diplomats. They were not traders. They were predators. 1,000,000 hives spread across the stars, devouring worlds until only ash remained. No empire had ever defeated them fully. Some slowed them, others bought peace with blood tribute, but none stopped them. The Vorkai were nature unleashed, hunger with a fleet. When their scouts discovered Earth, the galaxy reacted with cruel laughter. Humans will last a week at most, said a Creel warlord. 3 days, corrected a Yath general, sipping a glass of poison wine. I give them hours, hissed the Archon speaker. The news spread like wildfire through the star systems. In orbital palaces and data-net markets, beings gathered before enormous projection screens. The Vorkai were moving toward the solar system, and soon everyone would witness Earth's final breath. In the grand hall of stars, the Council of 9 assembled. They were the Great Watchers, rulers of the largest powers. Their seats towered over the chamber like thrones of stone and steel. One by one, holoscreens flickered alive, showing the Vorkai armada. The swarm was vast, like a living storm crawling across space. Organic ships, pulsing with bioluminescence, moved in endless waves. Their spines glowed, their weapons dripped with corrosive energy. At the center sat a single ship, larger than a moon, the Hive Titan. It carried millions of larvae, ready to spread across Earth like a plague. The alien leaders smiled. They leaned back in their thrones, content. Earth was finished. On Earth, the skies burned with streaks of fire as warning systems screamed. Civilians hid in bunkers, military ships took positions, and humanity braced for a battle most of the galaxy thought unwinnable. Yet among the humans, there was no laughter, no fear-filled jokes, no begging for rescue. Instead, silence covered the command centers. Generals spoke in low, sharp tones. Engineers whispered final checks. Pilots sat ready in their dark ships, their helmets hiding their eyes. The Vorkai approached expecting panic, but they found something else. The first wave entered the edge of the solar system. Thousands of swarm ships glided past Neptune, wings unfolding, weapons charging. Halian commentators narrated every move. Here comes the end of Earth, said a Creel announcer. Watch them scream. Watch them beg. But the screams never came. Instead, the human fleet moved. Out of the shadows of the moon, dark ships rose, silent and sharp. Their armor reflected no light. Their engines made no sound. They did not look like the clumsy cargo vessels the galaxy believed Earth possessed. They looked like predators. At first, the galactic audience thought it was a mistake. Those can't be human ships, they muttered. They must belong to another empire. But then the insignia became clear. Painted in stark white on every hull, the flag of Earth. The Vorkai swarm laughed in their hissing tongue. They opened fire, launching plasma bursts and acid clouds. The humans did not retreat. They did not panic. They moved. The dark ships split into hunting packs, weaving through fire with impossible precision. They lured swarm ships into asteroid fields, using gravity as a weapon. They struck not at the strongest ships, but at the vulnerable, supply carriers, brood vessels, command nodes. Each strike was sudden, ruthless, and final. Across the galaxy, the laughter stopped. Impossible, whispered the Yath general, leaning forward. Those tactics, those reactions, they fight as if they have faced predators before, muttered the Archon speaker. On the hollow screens, Vorkai ships burned. Human vessels vanished into dark space, then reappeared like shadows with teeth. It was not random. It was a hunt. For the first time in centuries, the swarm pulled back, confused, and in that silence, a new fear began to grow across the galaxy. Perhaps humans were not what they seemed. Perhaps Earth was not weak. Perhaps the galaxy had misunderstood a very dangerous truth. As the Vorkai prepared their second wave, and humanity readied its next strike, the alien leaders watched in silence. Their eyes no longer filled with amusement. Something had shifted, something they could not yet name. And deep within the darkness of space where Earth's hunters waited, the first whisper of a terrifying truth echoed. Humans were not prey. They had only been hiding their nature. And now, the galaxy was about to see it. The Vorkai swarm was not used to resistance. Across thousands of worlds, they had swept aside fleets, armies, and defenses. Empires begged for mercy, offering slaves and tribute. Planets burned and the swarm always fed. But here in the Sol system, something was different. The humans had not begged. They had not fled. They had fought like hunters. The second wave came fast. Tens of thousands of Vorkai warships poured through the void, black silhouettes against the pale light of the distant sun. They spread like wings around the solar system, aiming to encircle Earth. Alien eyes across the galaxy followed every moment, watching through stolen feeds and broadcast streams. Billions of beings sat in silence as the swarm advanced. "This is it," said the Creel warlord, his voice sharp with cruel pleasure. "Now humanity will show its weakness." But deep inside human command centers, beneath mountains, under oceans, and within orbital stations, there was no panic. Only planning General Elise Morgan stood at the center of Earth's command nexus, her voice calm but cutting through the chaos like steel. "They expect us to defend Earth directly. We will not. We will strike first." Her words echoed across secure channels, reaching the captains of shadow fleets hidden among moons, asteroids, and space stations. The plan had been prepared for decades, though no one outside Earth knew. Humanity had been watching the galaxy, learning, waiting, and now the trap was ready. The first blow came near Mars. A cluster of Vorkai broodships, each the size of a small city, moved toward the planet, intending to turn it into a nest. Their organic hulls pulsed with life, glowing green with chemical fire. But as they drew near, the surface of Mars seemed to awaken. Dust storms parted. Craters opened. What appeared to be harmless mining stations unfolded into weapons. Long-hidden rail cannons rose from the soil, powered by reactors buried deep below ground. The first shot split the silence of space. A Vorkai broodship cracked open like a rotten egg, spilling glowing larvae into the void. The second shot followed, then the third. Within minutes, Mars itself had become a weapon, and the swarm reeled backward in shock. Across the galaxy, alien leaders leaned forward in disbelief. They turned an entire planet into a fortress, whispered the Archon speaker, his three eyes wide. "That's impossible," hissed the Yath general. "They are too young, too primitive." "Are they?" interrupted another, voice sharp with fear. The feeds showed human ships emerging from behind Mars, sleek and dark. They cut into the swarm with precision, each strike aimed at weak points, engines, command nodes, fuel sacks. They fought not like prey, but like predators who had studied their enemy for years. But the Vorkai were not defeated easily. The swarm adapted quickly, shifting formations, surrounding Mars with hundreds of ships. Plasma fire rained down, burning across the red planet's skies. Defense cannons exploded one by one, and human fleets were forced to retreat deeper into space. The galaxy watched with bated breath. For a moment, it looked as if the prediction was right, that Earth's defense was only a temporary spark before inevitable destruction. And then the second part of humanity's trap was sprung. Out near Jupiter's orbit, the silence of space shattered. From the shadows of its many moons, a second fleet appeared. But these were not warships in the traditional sense. They were massive, blocky vessels, once disguised as ore haulers, refinery stations, and research craft. Now their armor unfolded, revealing weaponry that had been hidden for decades. Guided by artificial intelligence, they struck with brutal precision. Massive energy beams sliced through the swarm. Swarms of drones launched from hidden bays, moving with insect-like coordination, overwhelming Vorkai fighters. The galaxy erupted in shock. "This is not a weak race," muttered the Creel warlord. "They planned for this. They built weapons in secret," whispered the Yath general. The Archon speaker said nothing. His eyes were locked on the screens, watching as the tide of battle shifted. For the first time in living memory, the Vorkai were losing. Their swarm formations faltered. Their brood ships burned. Their fighters scattered, and through it all the humans pressed forward, not with blind rage but with calculated precision. Every movement, every strike was a message. We are not prey, but the battle was not yet over. Deep within the hive Titan, the enormous living ship that led the swarm, a ripple of fury passed through its hive mind. The battle in the solar system raged on. From Neptune's orbit to the skies above Mars, space burned with fire and wreckage. Human fleets fought like shadows, striking, vanishing, then striking again. The Vorkai pressed forward in endless waves, their hunger unbroken, and across the galaxy, billions of alien eyes watched in silence. For the first time in memory, the swarm was bleeding. In the grand hall of stars, the 9 councils argued. Their voices rose like storms echoing across the chamber. "This is madness," growled the Creel warlord. "No prey should resist the Vorkai. They are not resisting. They are winning," corrected the Archon speaker, his 3 eyes fixed on the flickering holoscreens. The Yath general slammed a clawed hand against the table. "It cannot last. They are too fragile, too emotional. They will break soon enough." But even as the words left his mouth, a new report scrolled across the screen. Vorkai losses, mounting faster than ever before. Entire broods destroyed. Supply ships burned. Command nodes severed. The numbers told a story none of them wanted to believe. Back on Earth, beneath mountains of steel and stone, the truth was finally being spoken aloud. Humanity had never been weak. It had been evolving. Earth itself had been the crucible. For billions of years, life on the blue planet had battled in a cycle of tooth and claw, fang and fire. Predators rose and fell. Mass extinctions came and went. Each disaster carved life into something harder, sharper, smarter. Humans were not built in palaces of peace. They were shaped in jungles filled with venom, in oceans filled with monsters, on plains where death hunted every step. And though the galaxy saw only their soft skin and fragile bones, they did not see the truth hidden beneath. A predator's mind, captured Vorkai prisoners, those few that survived, spoke of the humans in tones of dread. "They do not stop," hissed one through broken mandibles. "They fight when wounded. They fight when outnumbered. They fight when they should run," another whispered in terror. "They adapt faster than the swarm. Every time we attack, they change. Every time we evolve, they are already waiting." Their words spread across the galaxy like fire. What had once been laughter turned into unease. What had been mockery became silence. In orbit around Earth, human soldiers prepared for another strike. Private Daniel Reyes sat in his pod, staring at the cracked photo of his family. His ship vibrated as engines roared. Around him, hundreds of soldiers whispered their quiet rituals, touching charms, murmuring prayers, steadying their hands. But when the launch came, fear vanished. The pod screamed into the void, aimed at the belly of a Vorkai hive ship. Inside the swarm's fortress, claws and fangs waited. But when the humans breached the hull, they did not fight like prey defending itself. They fought like hunters tearing through the nest of a rival beast. Blades flashed. Guns roared. The hive corridors echoed with Vorkai screams. The galaxy watched in horror and awe as footage leaked from the battlefield. Soldiers of flesh and blood, small and fragile by alien standards, cut through monsters 3 times their size. They moved with speed, coordination and fury. Every death was answered with 3 kills. Every setback was turned into an ambush. In the Archon homeworld, a scholar whispered what others dared not say. They are the hidden predators of the galaxy. The word spread across data nets and council chambers. Old archives were reopened, studying Earth's history for clues. What they found only deepened the fear. Wars that had lasted centuries. Weapons that had reshaped continents. Civilizations that had risen and fallen. Yet humanity had always clawed back, stronger than before. One Archon historian trembled as he read aloud. They have fought themselves for millennia. Every empire on Earth ended in blood. They have never known peace. Only the sharpening of the blade. But the Vorkai swarm did not care for history. They cared only for hunger, and now, driven by fury, they sent their largest assault yet. From the hive Titan came beasts the size of continents, bristling with weapons grown from living bone. They blotted out the stars as they advanced toward Earth. Alien leaders leaned forward, certain this was the end. And yet, humanity was ready. On the far side of the moon, hidden for decades, massive structures began to rise. Towers unfolded. Antennas spread. Weapons hummed with power never before seen. It was Project Leviathan, a plan buried in secrecy, prepared for the day Earth would face extinction. Massive railguns lined the lunar surface, powered by reactors deep in the crust. Artificial intelligence coordinated every shot. As the Vorkai giants approached, the moon itself fired. Blazing lines of light ripped through space, tearing apart beasts thought to be unkillable. Their carcasses floated in silence, their flesh burning in the solar winds. The galaxy gasped. The weak ones had turned their home into a fortress. The prey had become predators. The hunters were being hunted, and for the first time in history the Vorkai swarm pulled back, not from victory but from fear. The galaxy had seen enough to know the truth. Humanity was not fragile. Humanity was not prey. Humanity was the hidden evolution. The void above Earth burned like a second sun. Wreckage drifted in every direction. Shattered Vorkai hive ships, twisted human vessels and frozen bodies locked forever in silence. The solar system had become a graveyard of steel and bone, yet the battle was far from over. The Vorkai swarm had pulled back, but only for a moment. From the hive titan, the hive mind pulsed with fury. Signals rippled through the swarm, commanding adaptation. New ships grew in accelerated birthing chambers. New weapons sprouted from organic forges. The swarm always adapted. It always evolved. But this time something felt different. In command centers across the galaxy, alien leaders argued bitterly. "They will break soon," insisted the Yath general. "No species can fight forever." "They have already fought longer than most empires," the Archon speaker replied coldly. "Perhaps too long," whispered a Creel warlord. "If the swarm fails here, what does it mean for the rest of us?" The question hung heavy in the air. For centuries, the Vorkai had been the ultimate predators. Every empire feared them, but they were predictable. A storm that could be avoided, bargained with, or endured. But now prey was fighting back. Prey was winning, and that meant the entire balance of the galaxy was shifting. On the edge of Jupiter's orbit, human fleets regrouped. Ships floated in silence, their hulls scarred and blackened. Inside, crews patched wounds, reloaded weapons, and whispered about what they had just survived. Captain Lian Zhou stood on the bridge of the Indomitable, staring at the stars. He had fought in dozens of battles, but nothing compared to this. "They expected us to die," he said softly. "They don't know us at all." His words echoed through the fleet. The humans weren't just defending anymore. They were preparing to strike back. The swarm returned in force. This time it was different. Their ships moved with new patterns, weaving in unpredictable swarms. Their weapons burned hotter, their armor thicker. The Vorkai hissed through their comms, confident this time they would overwhelm Earth's fragile defenses. But when the battle began, the galaxy saw something terrifying. The humans adapted faster. At first, the swarm's new tactics caused losses. Human ships fell. Orbital defenses cracked. Entire squadrons were wiped out, but within hours, mere hours, the humans had already adjusted. Their ships shifted formations, anticipating the swarm's movements. Their weapons recalibrated to pierce the new armor. Their soldiers exploited every weakness, as if they had known it all along. Alien observers stared in disbelief. Empires had studied the Vorkai for centuries, struggling to keep pace with their evolution. And here was Earth, matching them blow for blow, adapting faster than the apex predators of the stars. This is impossible," whispered the Yath general, sweat dripping from his scaled brow. "They fight like us," the Archon speaker said quietly, "but more dangerous. They do not just survive. They learn. They change." In the hive corridors of a captured Vorkai vessel, human marines advanced. Sergeant Kara Holt led her squad through the twisting tunnels, her pulse rifle steady. The walls pulsed like veins dripping with acid. From the shadows, swarm beasts attacked. Monstrous creatures, armored and clawed, roared and lunged. The squad did not retreat. They moved like hunters in a pack, covering each other, striking weak spots, communicating without words. In minutes, the beasts were dead. Holt wiped acid from her visor, breathing hard. "They think we're prey," she said, voice low. "But tell me, what prey learns to kill the predator this fast?" Her squad said nothing. But in their eyes burned the same truth. Across the galaxy, panic spread. Whispers filled marketplaces, council halls, and military bunkers. Traders carried stories from system to system. Refugees spoke of human ships that fought like shadows, of soldiers who killed monsters with their bare hands. One phrase spread faster than all the rest: the humans are predators. Back in the Grand Hall of Stars, the 9 councils could no longer deny it. The evidence was clear. Humanity had hidden its strength behind treaties and soft words, but that mask had fallen. "They have deceived us," the Creel warlord spat. "No," corrected the Archon speaker. "We deceived ourselves. We saw what we wanted to see, weakness, fragility, but we never looked deeper. And now?" asked the Yath general, his voice tight with fear. "Now," the Archon replied, "the galaxy faces a new apex species." The Vorkai did not retreat. They pushed harder, desperate to reclaim dominance. But every day their losses mounted. The solar system burned. For weeks, humanity and the Vorkai swarm had clashed in a war no one thought possible. The swarm had come expecting prey, but the prey had teeth. The prey had claws. Now the balance was shifting. Alien leaders across the galaxy watched in silence as the latest reports streamed in. Vorkai losses, catastrophic. Human casualties heavy, but far less than predicted. Outcome uncertain. For the first time in centuries, the swarm was not certain of victory, and still the Vorkai hive mind pressed forward. The hive titan pulsed with furious hunger, birthing new war beasts in its fleshy chambers. The swarm gathered every ship, every creature, every weapon. This was no longer a hunt. This was annihilation. In Earth's command nexus, deep beneath reinforced bunkers, General Elise Morgan stood with her commanders. Her face was pale from exhaustion, her eyes sharp with fire. "The swarm will not stop," she said. "They will keep coming until Earth is nothing but ash. We cannot defend forever. We must break them." Her words hung heavy in the room. Everyone knew what she meant. The plan that had been whispered for decades, prepared in secret and hidden from the galaxy, was about to be unleashed. It was time for Project Chimera. Far across the solar system, silent fleets stirred. They were not like ordinary warships. These vessels were strange, hybrid creations of steel and bone, machine and flesh. They pulsed with energy stolen from captured alien tech, fused with human design. Drones swarmed from their bays, each one a predator programmed to adapt in real time. Biological weapons, engineered from Earth's deadliest creatures, were stored in containment vaults waiting to be unleashed. The galaxy had never seen such machines, and perhaps it never should have. The Vorkai came with everything they had. Millions of ships poured into the solar system, darkening the skies of Neptune, Mars, and Earth. The swarm blotted out the stars, their hissing songs echoing across the void. Alien observers leaned forward, certain this was the end. "No prey can withstand this," the Yath general whispered, his claws trembling. "If the humans survive this," muttered the Creel warlord, "then they are no prey at all." The battle began with silence. Then, the humans struck. Project Chimera revealed itself in a single devastating wave. Ships that had been hidden in the asteroid belt activated, rising like shadows. On their hulls, strange new weapons glowed. The first shot cut through hundreds of Vorkai ships at once, splitting them in a line of burning wreckage. The second wave unleashed drone clouds, swarms of machines faster and deadlier than any organic fighter. They tore into the Vorkai formations like wolves among sheep, and then came the biological weapons. From Chimera carriers, creatures were unleashed, massive beasts born in Earth's most hostile environments. Armored in volcanic rock, spined with engineered steel, their roars echoed through the void. They latched onto Vorkai ships, tearing them open with unnatural strength. The swarm reeled back in horror. For the first time, the galaxy saw the Vorkai afraid. On the Hive Titan, the hive mind shrieked in rage. It had never faced prey that struck back with such ferocity. It sent orders through the swarm, demanding total war. But no matter how the Vorkai adapted, the humans matched them faster. One fleet split into hunting packs, circling and tearing at broodships. Another feigned retreat, luring swarm beasts into the range of lunar railguns. Even human infantry, boarding enemy vessels, adapted with terrifying speed. Every moment of battle pushed the swarm backward. Every strike revealed Earth's true nature. Across the galaxy, fear spread. In the Grand Hall of Stars, silence gripped the council. Holofeeds showed the impossible, the Vorkai in retreat. The unstoppable predators of the galaxy, beaten back by the very species they had mocked as weak. They should not have this power, the Yath general whispered. They earned it, replied the Archon speaker, his eyes fixed on the screens. We ignored the truth. Earth was never prey. Earth was a crucible. Everything that survived there was born to hunt. The Creel warlord slammed his fist against the table. Do you not see? If the humans defeat the swarm, then nothing will stop them. They will not just be survivors. They will be predators without rival. His words sent a chill through the council. Back in the solar system, the turning tide became clear. The swarm broke. Entire fleets collapsed under Chimera's assault. Hive ships burned, their screams echoing into silence. For the first time in history, the Vorkai were forced to retreat from a system they had chosen to devour, and humanity did not let them go easily. Human fleets pursued, hunting them through asteroid fields and dark space, no mercy, no hesitation. The galaxy watched in awe as the hunters became the hunted. When the battle finally ended, the solar system was scarred but alive. The swarm had been beaten back. Humanity had stood against the apex predators of the stars, and won. But victory carried with it a darker truth. Now the galaxy knew. Earth was not weak. Earth was not fragile. Humanity had shown its teeth, and for the first time in galactic history, the true apex species had revealed itself. The galaxy trembled. For the first time in living memory, the Vorkai swarm had been beaten. The predators of the stars, feared for millennia, had turned away in defeat. And the ones who had done the impossible were the humans. In the Grand Hall of Stars, the Council of Empires gathered. It was a chamber built for unity, but now it echoed with fear. Dozens of alien races stood beneath the towering spires, their voices sharp and panicked. They cannot be allowed to rise unchecked, hissed the Yath general, his mandibles snapping. Do you not see what has happened? They have slain the swarm. No empire has ever done this. The Creel warlord slammed his claw against the stone floor. I warned you. Earth was never prey. It was a nest of predators hiding beneath a mask of weakness. Others murmured in shock. Some stared at the holofeed, still replaying fragments of the battle. Vorkai hive ships burning. Human fleets tearing through predators with ruthless efficiency. They were supposed to die, whispered a counselor from the Lyran Confederacy. The swarm was supposed to consume them. But instead... He trailed off, his scales pale with fear. Instead, the humans had proven themselves unstoppable. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, ordinary citizens whispered in markets, in taverns, in dark alleys. Did you see it? They destroyed the swarm. Humans. The weak ones. The soft ones. Rumors grew like wildfire. Some spoke with admiration of a species that had stood against the unstoppable. Others spoke with dread, imagining fleets of human warships spreading across the stars, no longer hiding behind treaties. And in the shadows, whispers took a darker turn. If Earth could kill the swarm, who would be their next target? On Earth, the people buried their dead. Cities scarred by orbital strikes were rebuilt stone by stone. Families mourned, yet their grief carried a spark of pride. For the first time, they knew they were not helpless among the stars. Humanity had stood against the worst nightmare of the galaxy, and survived. But in the command chambers of Earth's leadership, the mood was heavier. General Elise Morgan stood before her council, her hands clasped tight behind her back. The swarm has retreated, but they are not destroyed. They will return. Her words sent a chill through the room. Everyone knew it was true, and when they return, she continued, they will come with greater fury. But now every empire knows who we are. They will not see weakness. They will see predators. Her gaze swept the room. That means they will fear us, and fear breeds enemies. Far from Earth, the Vorkai hive titan floated in the void, wounded and burning. Inside its living chambers, the hive mind seethed. The humans had struck wounds deeper than any in swarm history. The hive had tasted loss, something it had never known. But beneath its fury was something colder, something it had never felt before: fear. For the first time, the swarm had faced prey that did not run, did not hide, did not break. Prey that hunted back. The hive mind whispered across its countless drones, its thoughts echoing in fury. They will pay. They will be broken. They will be devoured. But in its endless hunger, a single question lingered. Can they be devoured at all? The galaxy's balance shifted. In the archives of the Archon scholars, a historian spoke to his students. His voice shook as he addressed them. Children, remember this day. For thousands of years, the Vorkai ruled as the apex predators of the stars. But today, humanity has claimed that crown. The galaxy will never be the same, the students whispered nervously, glancing at one another. One young Archon asked, "Teacher, does that mean humans will protect us now?" The scholar closed his eyes. Perhaps. Or perhaps they will become something even worse than the swarm. On frontier worlds, smugglers, mercenaries, and warlords made new plans. Some wanted alliances with Earth, hoping to share in their strength. Others prepared weapons, convinced that humanity must be struck down before it was too late. Across every star system, one question burned: was Earth salvation, or the next great terror? In Earth's skies, fleets returned from battle. The soldiers who disembarked were hailed as heroes, yet their eyes carried the weight of what they had seen. The swarm was beaten, yes, but not gone. Humanity had revealed its teeth, but in doing so they had awakened something larger. General Morgan watched from the command balcony as families reunited, as cheers filled the air. Yet she did not smile. "Let them celebrate," she murmured to her second-in-command. "But we must prepare. The swarm will not forgive this defeat." The swarm fled. But humanity did not let them escape. For the first time in galactic history, the hunters became the hunted. Weeks after the battle for the solar system, Earth's fleets pushed outward. Project Chimera ships led the charge, their hybrid weapons blazing across the void. Drone swarms spread like wildfire, tracing the paths of the retreating Vorkai. On alien worlds, entire populations gathered around holoscreens to watch the impossible. News feeds showed human fleets leaving their home system for the first great counterstrike. "Are they insane?" one alien asked in a crowded market. "So they should be defending, not chasing," another replied. But deep down, every observer knew the truth. Humanity was not simply defending itself. Humanity was claiming its place. The first strike came in the Vorkai breeding grounds. Deep in a red dwarf system, the swarm's brooding ships floated, vast hives filled with eggs, larvae, and hatchlings. For millennia, no species had dared approach such a place, but now human fleets emerged from the dark. The Chimera carriers opened their bays. Swarms of drones poured out, slicing through brood ships like butcher's knives. Biological war beasts, armored and raging, latched onto living hive structures, ripping them apart with claws of steel and bone. In minutes, the breeding grounds were burning. The Vorkai howled across the void. The galaxy shuddered. In the Grand Hall of Stars, alien leaders argued in panic. "They're wiping them out," hissed the Yath general, mandibles clicking nervously. "This is no longer defense," growled the Creel warlord. "This is extermination." The Archon speaker, old and weary, shook his head slowly. "You call it extermination. I call it survival. The swarm devoured us for centuries, and we could not stop them. Now humanity can. Would you rather the Vorkai remain?" But his words did not calm the council. Fear thickened like smoke, because every empire knew the truth. If humanity could annihilate the swarm, then nothing would stand in their way. Back on Earth, General Elise Morgan addressed her people. Her voice carried through hollow projectors to every city, every colony, every ship. "The swarm came to destroy us," she said. "They thought us weak. They thought us prey. But we have shown them what Earth is. We have hunted the hunters, and now we will finish what they began." Her speech echoed in the hearts of billions. Across the planet, cheers roared like thunder. Humanity was united as never before. In the swarm's heart world, the hive titan pulsed in desperation. The hive mind screamed through its endless drones, trying to muster defenses, trying to adapt as it always had. But it was too late. The humans had already learned every pattern, every weakness, every secret. Their strategies shifted faster than the hive could react. Their weapons cut deeper than the swarm could heal. The hive mind felt something it had never known: despair. It had always been the predator, always the nightmare of the stars. But now, in the burning darkness, it understood the truth. It was prey. The final battle came swift and brutal. Human fleets encircled the hive titan. Chimera weapons fired in synchronized volleys, tearing open its living hull. Boarding pods slammed into its flesh, releasing soldiers in armored exosuits who cut their way to the core. The hive screamed, a psychic wail that rippled through space. Millions of drones convulsed and died, their link severed. And then, silence. The Vorkai swarm was broken. The apex predator of the galaxy was gone. The galaxy watched in stunned silence as humanity's fleets emerged victorious. Worlds that had once feared the swarm now stared in awe and terror at Earth. On the council floor, the Creel warlord's voice was a growl. "It is finished. The swarm is no more." "No," said the Archon speaker softly. His ancient eyes glowed with something between dread and wonder. "It has only begun. For now the galaxy knows the truth. The swarm was never the apex. Earth was. Earth always was. On Earth, people celebrated in the streets. Children played beneath banners of victory. Families wept with joy, and soldiers returned as legends. But in the command chambers, General Morgan stood before a quiet screen showing the stars. Her second-in-command joined her. "We did it," he said. "The swarm is gone." Morgan did not smile. Her gaze was cold, sharp, unblinking. "The swarm is gone," she agreed. "But the galaxy saw us. They saw what we are. They will never forget." Her words hung heavy in the silence. "From this day on," she whispered, "we are no longer hidden. We are no longer prey. We are the hunters. Far across the stars, in the markets, the temples, the fortresses of countless worlds, a single phrase spread like a shadow. Humanity is the apex species." Some spoke it with hope, some with fear, but all knew it was true. The age of predators had changed, and the galaxy would never be the same. The swarm was gone. But peace did not follow. In the weeks after the Vorkai's destruction, the galaxy should have rejoiced. Worlds that had lived in terror for centuries could now breathe freely. Entire civilizations lit their skies with celebration fires, praising humanity as the saviors of all. But beneath the cheers ran something darker. Fear. The swarm had been the galaxy's predator. Now that predator was gone, and in its place another had risen. Humanity. The grand hall of stars met again, its spires glowing with uneasy light. Delegates from dozens of empires gathered, their voices sharp with suspicion. "They have done what none of us could," the Yath general hissed. "They did not just defend themselves. They hunted the swarm to extinction. Tell me, how long before they turned their teeth on us?" The Creel warlord slammed a fist against the table. "I warned you of this. Earth is not prey, it is the new apex, and no apex shares its throne." Others spoke more cautiously. "They saved us," said the Archon speaker, his voice weary but calm. "Without humanity, we would still live under the swarm's shadow. Should we not thank them?" "Thank them?" Another delegate spat. "They showed us weapons we have never seen. Monsters made of flesh and steel. Machines that think and kill on their own. Do you think they built those for the swarm alone?" The hall filled with silence. Everyone knew the answer. On frontier worlds, rumors spread like wildfire. Smugglers whispered of human fleets gathering in secret. Merchants swore they had seen chimera drones patrolling alien trade routes. Entire colonies panicked, convinced Earth would strike next. But on Earth itself, humanity was not celebrating conquest. They were preparing. Deep beneath the bunkers of Earth's command nexus, General Elise Morgan stood before her council once more. The room was filled with hollow projections of alien fleets, troop movements, intercepted transmissions. "They are afraid of us," she said simply. "And fear makes empires dangerous." Her second-in-command frowned. "Some of them call for alliance. Others, for war," Morgan nodded. "They will not unite against us, not yet. But the seeds are planted. The moment they see weakness, they will strike." A hush fell over the room. "Then what do we do?" asked one commander. Morgan's gaze was cold. "We do what we've always done. We adapt, we watch. And if they come for us," her voice hardened, "we remind them what it means to hunt the hunter." But even as humanity prepared for the galaxy's suspicion, something else stirred, far beyond the known trade routes. In the ruins of dead systems, fragments of the swarm lingered, drones without a hive, scattered brood ships drifting in silence. Yet within those ruins, faint signals pulsed. The hive mind was not entirely gone. Pieces of it had survived, and they remembered. Meanwhile, in the Grand Hall of Stars, a secret meeting unfolded. 6 empires gathered in the shadows away from the main chamber. Their voices were low, urgent, filled with dread. If humanity continues unchecked, they will dominate us all, the Yath general growled. They cannot be stopped, the Creel warlord countered. Not with weapons like theirs. Then we must unite, hissed another. A coalition. One purpose, to cage Earth before it is too late. There was silence. Each leader knew the risk. None had ever trusted the others. Wars had raged between them for centuries, but now all shared the same fear. Finally, the Archon delegate spoke. His eyes glowed with ancient sorrow. If we do this, we may destroy ourselves, but if we do not, humanity will rise above us all. Slowly, one by one, they agreed. The galaxy's greatest powers would form a secret coalition. Its goal, the containment of Earth. Back on Earth, scientists and soldiers worked side by side, unaware of the coalition's pact. In hidden labs, Project Chimera expanded. New hybrid war beasts were bred, stronger and faster than before. Drone fleets multiplied, their programming sharper, deadlier. But even as humanity sharpened its blade, whispers grew. Reports of strange disappearances in deep space. Outposts silenced, patrols vanishing without a trace. At first they thought it was sabotage. Then the recovered wreckage told another story. Organic scars, acid burns, psychic echoes. The swarm was not gone. In her private chamber, General Morgan read the reports. Her face was stone, but her hands tightened into fists. The galaxy fears us, she murmured. The Empire's plot against us. And the swarm. It is still out there. Her second-in-command swallowed hard. 3 enemies at once. Morgan's eyes narrowed. No, 3 predators. And only one can be the apex. She turned toward the holomap of the stars. The solar system glowed at its center, but all around it stretched shadows. Empires watching, plotting, waiting. And in the dark edges of the map, faint red signals blinked. The swarm's remnants. A storm was coming. One that would decide not just Earth's fate, but the fate of the galaxy itself.